Hey, how's it going? I just kind of wanted to talk today about like racism, just straight up racism. I'm gonna kind of start off at one point and go to another. So, back in I think around 2018, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. George Floyd, when he got killed, um, and obviously the I can't breathe. It was a pretty crazy time, and I was there for it. Obviously I didn't know all the things that George Floyd was at the time, and kind of what he did, as far as, like, I think he was like a woman abuser. I think he was on fentanyl, that kind of stuff. But I didn't really know this stuff at the time, and it just seemed like there was a lot of inequality when it came to black people. Now, stay tuned with me because I'm going to get to the other side. So, around this time, though, I felt very much that, you know, there was an injustice. And there was kind of two sides to the coin that people were saying. They were saying that Black Lives Matter and that all lives matter. So, the two spectrums. Um, I kind of was on the all lives matter too at the time, but I had a lot of pushback from that, and basically the argument for that was that all lives don't matter right now because black lives are the ones who are getting the most injustice. So there should be more preferential, like, there should be more favorability when it comes to black people and how they're being treated. And it kind of swayed my opinion a little bit at the time, and I was like, okay, I guess I understand that sentiment. So our little town, we had a protest, and it was basically where everybody was at the police station, and they were saying, like, Black Lives Matter. And this part was a little bit kind of messed up to me, because they were saying that they wanted all the white people to get on the floor, like, not even on their hands and knees, just strictly lay on the floor and say, I can't breathe. Just the white people. And I didn't do that because I thought it was kind of like, I was like, what the hell? But basically, at the time, though, I was there for the Black Lives Matter movement. I was a part of the protest because I felt like there was an injustice. So then it continued on, and we got further and further, and it almost feels like to the point where, hey, everybody was equal. Now, we get to the point now where we're at 2026, and it doesn't really feel that way anymore. The temperature's changed a little bit, to the point where you can see the blatant racism towards white people. Not based off of, their character, but more or less about their skin color. Like, you should feel some shame or guilt for being white. And this feeling is very disheartening, coming from somebody who once did have like an all black friend group. I had other friends as well too, but this was the main people I was around, let's say like 2016 for a while on, and maybe like to 2018, 2019. And I really felt like we were making a difference, and to almost feel backstabbed to a degree because of the way that people are being treated now. And I think the saying that people have is, the oppressed then become the oppressors. And I think that's true, because you can blatantly see it now, where now that black people feel like they have the upper hand. Not all of them, I will say that. But now that they feel like they have an upper hand, they'll take that and they'll almost discredit you for being a certain race or a certain color. And that injustice that I feel now for my own race has made me feel like I've been betrayed by the own cause that I have fought for all the way back then when the George Floyd was happening. And I really wish there was a way that we could kind of come to a understanding between each other, and where things wouldn't be so blatantly racist. But I feel like they do it for the love of the game, some of them. Like, they like the idea of oppression. They like the idea that we're the ones now who are being discriminated against. And it truly does feel unfair. And I'm not sure where a solution lies in that, but I do know that this can't continue, and it probably won't continue, as history has shown. Eventually, when you push enough buttons, people will fight back. They will say something back. I never wanted it to get to this point, but you have to understand that everybody has a limit. And that's why you're seeing a very divided nation right now. Like I've said before, I think social media plays a factor into this. But to what end is there when it comes to this type of attitude, this type of rhetoric? Because I feel like it's going to get to a point where there's going to be more violence and more hatred. And I just don't know what the end goal is, extermination, right? But, I don't feel like any of this is right where the current climate is. And I just wish that things would return back to how they used to be. Because I feel like around that same time, there usually was a lot less racism than there is now. I mean, it's pretty clear to see. And if you can't see it, I mean, you're just denying it. But there's people who say that this isn't true, or that this is just false, or this is cope, or look at the white people saying that they're oppressed. Like, they almost think of it as a joke, but it really is coming down to it, to the point where lives are being taken. I know after the Carmelo Anthony trial, there's been a few people who have been attacked, and they say, oh, you were a part of the trials, when it's just a random white person, and they just, they sack the shit out of them, they beat them up in a group, and they get hospitalized. I think there's been a couple instances, but I don't think, again, that this is everybody. But the overall idea, it's big enough to where it is a problem. And, so I feel like somebody could call me racist for the things I'm saying now. But, I mean, I just gave you my background. I am somebody who was around a majority black group. I was somebody who stood for the Black Lives Matter movement. And now I'm somebody who, frankly, doesn't want to be a part of any of it, because I feel like, in a way, I did more harm than good. But yeah, I wonder if anybody else has experienced this type of racism, if they see the same thing I'm seeing. Because yeah, I mean, it's very distasteful, and I just wish that things would be better. I mean, I'm a very, it kind of sounds corny, but like a loving individual. So I try not to just like, I don't like to discriminate, right? I mean, that's pretty simple. It seems like a pretty simple idea, but for a lot of people now, it's almost like a judge of character, like, but yeah, I mean, if you've experienced something similar, let me know. But overall, this is just my idea and how I think things have gone. And yeah, I don't think it can continue this way. think eventually there will be pushback for a lot of this racism that's happening right now. Thanks for watching.